The work of our land and water management engineer, me, and I have one more lecturer, agriculture engineer, who works in the Goa College of Agriculture. And we started as a center for Goa, but now we have been upgraded as Coastal Agricultural Research Institute. So we are catering to around 9 states and 8 union territories, and around 75 plus coastal districts. Next slide, please. My presentation is not going to be very much on automation and stuff. I'm going to be talking about the small and marginal farmers who own around 44% of the agricultural land in India, and they produce around 60% of the total produce of India. So this is the state coastal, a little overview about the coastal areas. We have the west coast and east coast, and we have rainfall almost double in the west coast and east coast. Next slide, please. The problems: low productivity. Most of the things like agriculture, horticulture crops, meat, milk, eggs, in everything we have low productivity. We have very low cropping intensity, soil erosion in topsoil, loss of topsoil, fertile soil. We have lack of cold storages, warehouses, small scale processing units. We have very high post-harvest losses. We lack processing units, and we have very poor farm mechanization. Next, please. The east coast, you can see it has around 6.4 million hectares, 4.0 million hectares, and west coast around 6.4. And the critical concerns are water erosion, seawater intrusion into the farming land, soil salinity, water logging, acidity, mining, cyclones, and super cyclones. Next slide, please. We have a lot of water in the coastal regions, so we should not be complaining about lack of water, but we have major lack of water for production most of the time, except for the paddy. We have only 18% utilization in the west coast and around 75% utilization of the water in the east coast. Next slide, please. This is an overview of the temperature, humidity. Next. This is the average rainfall. Next, please. So the problems related to agriculture in the coastal regions is we have high temperatures, so increased ET and crop water demand, increase in intensity of rainfall, but very short duration. Extreme weather events like floods and droughts, sea level rise, and salt water ingress. Hydrology patterns are very much changing here, and we have low water submergence in the low-lying areas, and disasters, and very high pest and disease infestation in crops. Next, please. So what are the technologies that we have made available for them? This is the land and water management technologies. Next, please. We have come out with certain soil and water conservation measures in mango, trenching versus vegetative barrier, and the same for upland coconut, also circular trenching, and for soil loss we have cut off using this, and nutrient loss also we have, and we have found that very high plant growth parameters could be achieved by this. Next slide, please. And this is for the upslope for cashew cultivation. Again, we have a slope of almost 19% with annual rainfall of 2,900. But by these measures, like we have step cultivation, by which we have increased the nut yield by 126%, and the soil organic carbon stock has been increased by 140%. We have also reduced the runoff by 44.5% and soil loss by 113 tons per hectare per year. Next slide, please. We have gone for on-farm, on-storage, and large farm storage and direct water harvesting using Jalkund. Both the methods have been advocated and also introduced in the subsidy program of the state. Next, please. Apart from this, can you just remove that hanging? Can you just, yeah, hide it? Because I'm not able to see my title. We have also, like I was saying, we have areas inundated with water. So we have gone for change of the land pattern, small scale land pattern change, so that we can have farm part. Next, previous slide, please. We have on-farm deep furrow and high ridge where we can have plantation, or we can go for shallow furrow and medium ridge. And these kind of cultivations we have used for farm pond versus paddy, fish, and these have given us like it's like an integrated farming system, but we have production and we also manage the salt salinity and the water. Next, please. These are basically known as Kazan lands where the water is increasing, but we have brought it into production by changing the land. And multi-enterprise agriculture we are practicing in this. Next, please. As you can see here, we have elevated the land. Water comes here, but because of the bunds, we can go for cultivation of management of submergence and dry spells, and we have increased the income of the farmers by 56%. And there is a scope for a second paddy also, second crop of paddy. Next, please. This is our integrated farming models. We have three kind of land situations: lowland, highland, and middle land. And for the three situations, we have developed various integrated farming patterns, and we have these models have been recommended to the state. Next, please. Yeah, this is for the upland conditions, which is another kind of the cropping pattern is completely different for the uplands. Next, please. So these are the recommendations that we have given: soil and water conservation measures, farm pans, contour trenching, bank terraces, check dams and conservation agricultural practices, rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge, and integrated watershed management practices for crop intensification. And also we have gone for adoption of micro irrigation and mulching techniques to improve the water use efficiency. Adopting integrated farming systems for livelihood security of the farmers, and land shaping techniques for multi-enterprise in the salt-affected soils of the coastal region. This we are doing with the state. This one we are actually developing it as a model for the adoption by the state. Next, please. And also we also have ITK of the farmers. One of the farmer has been recommended for Padma Shri also. Their farm water conservation methods, which are we are adopting for scaling. Apart from this, now coming to my field, I have been doing a lot of work and survey on the farms, and we have found that most still in Goa paddy is not transplanted, but it is broadcast, and losses. We have a lot of losses due to shatter, due to over mature crops because they have lack of machinery or machinery cannot reach their land. Some of the places are like that. Threshing and winnowing is manual. Rains during sun-drying period. Even now we have very heavy torrential rains in Goa going on, and the paddy is ready to be harvested. Lack of good agriculture practices for milling. Lack of coconut and areca nut harvesters. Value addition of many minor but future crops of the state. Next, please. So we recommended that they can adopt these measures. This is like going quickly, drum seeders, transplanters. Next. We have the upslope land. We recommended this that the combine should be given, but combines cannot actually go to the most of the land. There is no approach road. So there is a need for mini combines. Mini combines are existing, but the mini combines with the wheels cannot operate in these. So we are looking for mini combines with tracks, which now have started coming. So those kind for the areas, and most of the land is like very, very unapproachable, upland, in the forest, and those kind of locations, or you have to cross some water body before you go there. But these are the farmers, and they work in such belts. Next, please. Threshers, we don't need electrical threshers, we need threshers which can be attached to the PTO of the power tiller or the this one. Multi-crop threshers also have been introduced. Next, please. We have distributed many of these through our STC and SCSP program. Next slide, please. And also mechanical winnowers have been introduced to them. Next. Next slide, please. And for drying, we have recommended some of the existing dryers and greenhouse dryers also. And greenhouse dryer for most of the areca nut drying has been adopted by the farmers, and it is very popular now. Next, please. we also studied that in parboiling, the methods that they were using was not very sophisticated. So we introduced the small scale parboiling units, which are the modern parboiling units for the farms on like for the small farmers, and we modified it into a stainless food grade stainless steel one, and we have distributed through our SCSP model, and now this is very much popular in Goa. Next, please. Again, milling, if you see around 25 to 50% is the breakage in the mills. Still, they are using Haller mills. So, need for modernization. Take next, please. We have introduced actually rotary tillers, power tillers, winnowers, threshers, paddy dehuskers. Also, we have given through our SCST model so that a few farmers can use them, and then the other farmers will see and mimic them. And through NABARD, we have had funding for a project on sensitization farmers and good post-harvest management practices. This was only for the state of Goa. And we have also taught them how to use the power tillers. Mostly women we have empowered for using the power tillers, main operation and maintenance also training we have given, because the main problem is operation and maintenance of the equipment there. Next, please. In our center also tried to develop a CocoBot, drone-based coconut harvesting unit. It was actually a conceptual design. This got an award also, but we are still looking for a taker who will commercialize this, since we don't have the money to commercialize this. Next, please. Apart from this, since we have a lot of multi-enterprise models, we have gone for evaluation and recommendation of many equipment that are suitable for these multi-cropping systems, and these have been introduced in the subsidy program. These are a few of them. Among these, one of the good equipment is the tree bikes for harvesting, and there are also AricaNet, unmanned AricaNet bunch harvester, which is very good and which we are trying to upscale for coconut harvesting also. Next, please. Yeah, these are some of the equipment. Next, please. Yeah, this is Dr. Vinod Adkari. He's assistant professor in Agriculture College, Goa, and he has developed a food grain silo for ozonization and storage of paddy. Next slide, please. I'm not going to introduce. And the next slide. Yeah, this is his prototype he has developed. It is solar powered ozone producing machine, which is used for fumigation and in storage of the paddy. This is he did it as a startup, and he got seed plant fund, and now he's upscaling it. Next, please. This is the unit. It has dedicated sensors to monitor grain quality also. Next, please. Yeah, next. Apart from this, we have done some studies on greenhouse design. We had greenhouse designs, around 70 greenhouses, which are unused in the states after being constructed through subsidy. Next slide, please. And we found that what are the problems we have studied? High loss of transmissibility just within a few months of use. Next. You can see this thick algal growth. Next, please. And very low airflow through them because they were not fan ventilated. Next, please. Very high difference in lack of uniformity in microclimate within the structure. Next, please. And in a nutshell, high humidity, temperature, low light penetration, lesser airflow rate, and hence lesser air exchange with the outside, high disease, pest and mortality of. That's why when it was introduced for vegetable production, the greenhouses were a failure and they were left unused. Next, please. Next, please. So these are the design modifications we suggested to them, and this was a state-funded project. We gave these design modifications. This would require around 2 lakhs to introduce in each of the greenhouses that are lying unvacant. They have the results, but till now they have not. They don't know where the money is going to come from, so they have not adopted it. But these are the recommendations, and on our farm we have used them, and it has been successful.
What is the modification?
So there is a water ingress into the polyhouse. So for that we have given inside walls, and also mixer fans and ventilation system, and on please go back one slide, please. and sprinklers on the roof. They have inside misting system which further increases the humidity. Instead of that, on roof sprinklers to reduce the temperature, and gutters, just gutters to remove the water from going to the greenhouse. This has been quite successful. The simple modifications have worked out very fine. Next slide, please. Next, this is the design that, sorry, stop here. This is a design that I have constructed for the use for a wholesome greenhouse that should be adopted from the coastal regions. Next, please. Apart from this, we are working on valorization of kokum and its byproducts. Next. 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 There is kokum seed butter, which is like shea butter and other things. It's a very good product which can be utilized. And the usual traditional methods, very poor quality. Over, sir. Okay. So we have developed methods to improve the extraction efficiency. Next slide, please. And we have also worked on kokum wine, which has been very successful. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the procedure that we have standardized. Next slide, please. Next slide. Anyone wants details, you can ask me later. Next slide, please. And also kokum jam and preserve. Next slide, please. Next. And these are the machines for the butter removal that we have modified and used. Next slide, please. This is also another machine. Next slide, please. Next. Apart from this, under Pradhan Mantri Yojana, we are giving trainings and CIC development mentoring. For next slide, please. Next slide. This is an incubation center we have. How we help the farmers through incubation? They come to us in distress when there is an event with their produce. We customize some produce for them, which can save their produce from being lost during these distress events. So next slide. You can just go fast through this. This is our team. Yeah, I'm done, sir. These are my incubatees.
Thank you,
Mathala,
Juliet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Present this for appreciation.